once a new file is created, in company details, we will be entering all our details. So this is where it would already have been filled in your files. Here I'm just going to go through the procedure, that's all. So I will enable PF number, ESI number. So these are just the formats which I am entering. Along with that, I will enable PT and also TDS. So once TDS is enabled here, you will be having to enter the TAN number and the company type. Okay, so I will go ahead and enter the TAN number. And the company type, so you can select it either as government, public sector unit or others. So I am going to go ahead with others and save. Once that is done, I will come to my initial setting and I will so I will come to create new month option. Here your month will already be there, so I'm going to create from April 2016 to cover from the first quarter of this financial year, and I'll go and save it. Once that is done, you can come to PT rate editor. All these settings would have already been done. I'm just going to skim through these things. So state name, I will give it as Karnataka, or in your cases your state name will be written here, and save. For default, it will pick the default values. In PF ESI rate editor, I am going to restrict the contribution of employer share and the employee share to 15,000 rupees. Okay. In the next, we will be defining what all salary heads are there in our company. Okay, so here I'm going to take basic, DA, HRA, conveyance, and also special allowance and other allowance. Also, I will take others. Once this is done, I will directly come to assign heads to salary structure. So this is where we will be mapping our various different heads to the respective TDS reference. So here I'm going to take basic, these settings. Once that is done, then TDS reference, I will map it to basic. So basic has to be mapped to basic TDS reference and save. Next, DA, I will take lump sum amount, and while mapping DA, we get two different options. One is DA considered for HRA exemption and DA not considered for HRA exemption. So if you are considering DA in HRA calculation, while calculating 10% of DA, all these things, if DA is considered in HRA exemption calculation, then we will give DA considered. If it is not, we will give DA not considered for HRA exemption. So for my case, I'm going to go ahead with DA considered for HRA reference and save. Next, I will take HRA and map it to the HRA head. So here HRA option is there, so I will give it to that. Next is conveyance. I will take conveyance again. And take it as conveyance. Whatever other things which has allowance given to it, special allowance, other allowance, all these things will be mapped to allowances, other allowances. So this is the option, other allowance. It has to be mapped to that. Again, other allowances option is there. I am going to map it to other allowances. Any other head which does not have any allowance option given to it. So others, all these things will again be mapped to others. So there is others option here. For this, I will map it. So this was the step in which we will map the different salary heads to the respective TDS reference. Once that is done, our next step would be creating a new employee. So here, when I come to employee, I will enter all the mandatory fields. Yours might look a little bit different from this. I am going to take date of joining as the same month from which my salary calculation is beginning, and also my this quarter, this financial year. We can take another employee who will have joined later at the further point of time. So once this is done, I can just go ahead and save this. You can see there are no mandatory fields other than date of joining and salary calculate from. But as soon as I enable TDS details, you can see that the designation, date of birth and PAN becomes mandatory fields. This is because while for creating the e-return file, all these things are mandatory. So I will come to designation and give these designation and save date of birth, and I will give us PAN. If PAN is not available, then you will be giving us PAN applied, PAN invalid, or PAN not available. But make sure that once you have given it, you will come back as soon as possible and change this before your e-return, because if PAN is not available or PAN is shown as applied, then 20% will be deducted from the actual amount. The slab will not be applicable directly, 20% will be deducted. So I am going to just give the PAN number. Okay. Also, there is a verify button next to it. So this is given so that you can verify whether the given PAN is valid in the income tax department database or not. Because we do this verification again because if it is invalid, it will be 20% deduction on the complete amount. So I will verify this. So it is a valid PAN and present in the eTD database. So I will go and save this. After that, I can come to salary and enter all the details which I have enabled. So once all salary is entered, next we will be taking up enabling of reimbursement. So as we know, reimbursement also will be referred for TDS. So for that, I will come to initial setting, option setting. In reimbursement, and I will also enable food coupon. I will just enable these options for now. Once enabled, they will be listed under the pre-salary transaction reimbursement options. So first I will go to master and enable what all is required for my reimbursements. So I will be taking up medical and food coupon. So here I will select medical reimbursement. For TDS reference, again I will take it as medical reimbursement. So this can be done monthly allotment. All these settings, if you are already, if reimbursement is already applicable, these settings would have been done in your systems. So I'm going to just give paid in salary and limit exemption on. For limit exemption, whatever it's the TDS exemption that will be the limit, we have three different options. First one is maximum exempted, which is whatever exemption maximum limit is there, which is 15,000 for per year, financial year, and 1250 per month. That complete amount will be exempted. Or you can give it based on bill amount. So if you give it based on bill amount, whatever the bill amount you enter, if it is below 15,000, then that amount will be considered, but it will only be considered after you enter the bill details. Next is manual, wherein you will be just manually entering what is the exempted amount. So for my calculations, I'm going to take bill amount. Another thing which I will take is food coupon. So reimbursement type I will take as food coupon. For TDS reference, I will be taking as free food and non-alcoholic beverages. So the option is here, free food and non-alcoholic beverages. This also I will say show in salary, monthly allotment again. Here by default the limit exemption on will be manual. Further we will see where we will be entering this manual value. So once that is done, master setting is done where we map TDS reference. Our next process would be allotment. Allotment can be done yearly. So for this financial year, I will select medical reimbursement. For this particular employee, I will give at the start of the financial year, I am giving the whole amount for the whole financial year. And save. So next, again for food coupon, I'm going to go ahead and give it. So as we know, food coupon is exempted for 3,000 rupees per month. I have entered that same value and save. So once that is done, you, as and when the claim is done, you can come to the claim screen for medical reimbursement and enter all the claim details. If claim, you do not wait for the claim to be done and you just allot monthly 1250 in salary only, and also you only then require the bill details. For such settings, what you do is in masters only you will give auto claim while creating new month. So if this is done, you don't have to claim every month. In your salary only it will be shown and you can then collect the bill details. So food coupon issue, this has to be done monthly. So I will come to this. I will select the employee. Select the amount issued in the month of April. It can either be paid in salary or it can be independent of salary. Select whichever option you want. I am taking paid in salary and save. If there are multiple number of employees for whom issue has to be done, then we will go to bulk issue. Select the coupon name, date, issued on, and list employees. So there is only one amount, one person for whom I've already issued the amount. Else you can issue it here in bulk. Once that is done, you can come to the bill details and enter the bill value for whatever is provided. We will come back to that at a later point of time. For now, we will directly come to salary. So that was, I have done auto claim, so it will be shown in my salary. This is the first month I am processing this person's salary, so ESI and PS settings have to be enabled and updated. So as you can see, food coupon is given. Medical reimbursement I have not yet claimed for the month of April. Since I had already created April month before making the setting, for the first month I have to claim it. For the next months it will come on its own. So amount, it is automatically picking as 1250, which is allotted for this month. It can be varied, but for my calculation I'm going to keep it as it is and save. You can see bill balance is being shown as negative. As and when the bill is provided by the employee, you can update the bill and it will be shown in either as 0 or in positive. Okay, so I'll come back to my salary editor. Here you can see medical reimbursement and food coupon, both are being shown. So next we will come to TDS details. Come to options, and here we set the financial year. So this, as and when a new financial year is started, make sure you come here and update, because the whatever the tax slab change is there, it will be applicable based on that. So I will select this financial year, year 2016 and 17, and next option is calculate on proof amount. So if I want the calculation of TDS to be done on the actual proof amount instead of what has been declared by the employee, then we will enable calculate on proof amount. And also, once we enter these values, we will go ahead and enter the actual proof amount for our calculations. We will see that in the next step. Next is, if you remember, we had mapped food coupon to free food and non-alcoholic beverages. So here is where we will enter the value. The exemption can be either 1 meal per day, which would be 50 rupees, so 1500 per month is exempted, or it can be 2 meals per day, in which 3000 rupees will be exempted. So for me it is 2 meals, 100 rupees. I'm going to save this. So these are the first settings which we do. Once that is done, we will directly come to port details. We will be seeing all these options as and when we go further. For now, I will just take port details. So for port details, what all salary calculation has been done, that will be ported here to do the TDS calculation. So I will enable which employee I want. Also on the right hand side, you can see the change in coloration of the months. So April is a created month, so it is calculating for April, and also for the further months as well. It is extrapolated value. If you don't want this extrapolation, you can disable it and calculate only for the month of April. For my calculation, I'll keep it with extrapolate value, and I will port all the data. Once the porting is done, I will come to compute. You can come to view ported details, wherein you will be able to see all the values which has been coming. So basic, HRA, DA, all these things. Since I have clicked on extrapolate values for further months, I can see values of all the months. And also medical reimbursement and food coupon is only given for the first month which has been created. So that is where you view whatever detail has been ported. So next is compute income tax. So this will open up the income tax module of this, and the calculation will be done. So just click on start. Once the calculation is done, click on close. To view whatever calculation has been done, we will come to computation details. So you can see this screen is opened here. So what I can do see here is all the details which has been given. So salary, this on the left hand side, whatever you see is called the tax meter. So it will basically give you a summary of all these things. Salary, if you have entered any other values. Chapter 6A deduction is being taken. We will see all these things now. So if you come to the main screen, click on the three dotted lines. It will open up all the details of your values which has been entered. So first screen you will see employer details. Next summary you will take, where it shows main components, allowance, perquisites, all overall summary of it. And then in the main component screen you can see basic and DA and how much is exempted. These are both completely taxable, so there is no exemption shown. Allowances, so HRA, how much is given. Currently it is showing as complete HRA is being taxable because we have not made any other settings. And then conveyance, based on whatever the value is, it is showing 1600 rupees is exempted, the rest of the amount is taxable. One more thing which you can see here is April month and May month and the rest of the months are in different color from the month of April. This is because April is a created month and all other values are extrapolated. So also there is an option to enter if it is if this person is handicapped or not. As you can see, enabling or disabling this will change the exemption limit. If you want to take up this option, that can be done here. So next is perquisites. I have given medical reimbursement, so it is showing as 1250 rupees. It is the value, and currently it is showing as fully taxable. This is because I have not entered any bill details, and my entire taxable, non-taxable calculation will be done on bill amount. So we will just go back and give bill details. We will see how that reflects. Come to reimbursement, bill details, medical, and my bill, say it is for 1250 only, and save. The bill can be taken at the end of the financial year, wherein you will be taking the whole year value, but for now I have only taken 1 month value. So I will come back to compute income tax once, because now the exemption will change. So coming back to my three dotted lines, in perquisites you can see before it was in taxable value, here it is now showing as exempted. So whatever the bill amount I have given, that amount is being shown as exempted. Similarly, when we come down, we can see whatever food coupon has been given, that is also being shown as completely exempted because I have given 100 per day. If I had given it as any other, one meal per day, which would be 50, then 1500 rupees would be exempted. In others, you can see whatever others, what value, whichever salary head I had mapped to others option, that is being listed here. Similarly, allowance also, special allowance and other allowance, I have two different allowances. It is being mapped into one single other allowances heads, which was 5000 and 6000 rupees each. And it is completely taxable also. Okay, so once that is done, we will come back to our Saral PayPack software. This was your first month process. So every month what you would be generally doing is port all the salary details from salary to TDS calculation, compute income tax, and view these details. Next step is port TDS to salary. So whatever TDS has been calculated, it should reflect in your payslip. For that purpose, we will say port TDS to salary. So come here, select the month and the salary structure, just say port. This whatever value is ported, it can be saved like this only, or you can go ahead and edit it and then save. Whatever the remaining amount is, it will be adjusted to the next month by the software itself. After that is done, I will come to salary editor. You can see TDS is now being deducted. So this was every month process. So next I will create one new month and we will see the next steps. So before going to that, I will just issue the food coupon. In the month of May, paid in salary or independent, and save. After this, I will come to salary editor. You can see since I've given auto claim for the month of May, reimbursement has come and I have issued food coupon, so that is also being shown. So now for the TDS calculation, what you can also do is instead of going through all those steps, you can directly click on the TDS option here and just let it update. It will port all the details back and forth and give you your TDS details. So again, it will ask you to select the salary structure, port, and save. You can see there is a variation in the TDS EMI for every month. This is because previously I have deducted less and it has been adjusted to the following months. So once that is done, it will directly show it here as TDS whatever is calculated. I will create one more month, after which we will see quarter file e-filing for the first quarter. Again, I am issuing the food coupon for the month of June and go to salary editor. Okay, so this again has come. I will come to TDS part. Select the salary structure and port the values and save it. So now TDS has been deducted. So this was the first quarter. We will close this. We will go to next option is we will directly go to e-return. If there is any change, it will calculate that. Once you come into the TDS option, you will first select the financial year. Once that is done, all these options are enabled wherein we will be entering the details. So here it is picking default quarter 4. I will come back to quarter 1. First, I will enter the deductor details. So here, company name, all address details and everything. Company PAN value is given. So let's see, we will enter all these values. State name. If there is any address change within the financial year, then you can click on yes and then enter those details. Since I don't have any of those values, I will click on no. So primary email address can be entered. And company PAN number. If the company is an existing TDS assessee or not, and if the assessing officer's approval information is given or not. So I will click on yes, and whatever the value for that is, I am going to enter and select the deductor type, which is company. So when you all these values you want to transfer it to responsible person details, so I will click on that arrow and I will say transfer it. So when you do that, all these values will be filled here. So I will enter the rest of these. I will enter the PAN of the responsible person, and also the mobile number. These are used for verification purpose. So once deductor master is filled up with all responsible person and company details, we will next come to port data. So for this, we instead of having to fill default deduction dates and salary paydays for all the months, what we do is we set these dates by clicking on default date settings. So here, what is the deduction date every month and what is the payment date every salary payment date every month can be selected. It can either be in the current month, or if it is in the next month, you can select that. And we will apply all the default dates. So once that is done, you will see something like this. Next is port option. Before we come to port option, there is do not port those employees who are having TDS amount as 0. So this is because if it is ported, then it will again consider take into consideration all PAN validation and these things, and which we do not want that. So we will just click on this option and port. So once that is done, we will come to the e-return part. So first we will be entering challan information. So come to challan. Here we can do it based on two different options. One is you can manually enter the value, or you can just get it. Okay, we will see the next option. First is we can manually enter the value. Okay, so first option we will see now. What you can do is you can create a challan. So for this, what we do is just enter the values here. What is the income tax amount, if you already know it, and also separately education cess amount. I'm going to enter this. So total amount first month whatever I had deducted was 8,000 rupees. So it is coming here. Next, select the type of payment. While selecting, make sure it is 200 payable by the taxpayer. And then generally nowadays we are going ahead with cash or e-payment option. So click on that. Since you have not yet made the payment and have bank challan number or anything, what we do is we will just enter the branch code and save. So we will be updating this value soon enough. So first what we do is we create this blank thing and then we go ahead for e-payment option, which is present here. Click on it and it will open up the e-payment web gateway, wherein you can go ahead, enter all the details and then get the challan number. After which what you do is enter the challan number here and save. So now it has become a valid challan. But this process will get a little bit confusing, because once this is done, you will also have to link it to a particular deduction. So the first part, whatever I have taken, I have linked it to the April month deduction. So going back and forth linking, especially when you don't know the correct value, because in your cases you will have more than one employee and their values will vary. So what we do is, okay, in this case I am just linking the deduction. So this challan I am linking it to April month deduction. I am saving it. But since this becomes a confusing process, what we do is the other option, the easier option to do this is click on new and then click on from deduction. So what you can do is filter out employees for that month. So one employee, in my case there is only one deduction detail is there. So if you have multiple, select all of them and then say create. So all income tax value, all these things will automatically come on its own, after which you can just enter these values and save. Even if you don't have a bank challan number, again you will save this, do the payment and come back here and enter these details. And save. So this is a much easier option, and from now on I will be following this option. Again, one last is remaining, so I will select this for this quarter, create a challan and take this option and enter all the values. So all deduction and challan entries for this quarter is done. So now we will close the screen. To see if whatever link has been created is done properly or not, we will come to TDS, this option, TDS comparison information, where since it is showing in white, it means all record has been respectively matched. So all deductions have been linked to a particular challan, and now we can go ahead with return filing. So come to e-return. You can get the CSI file, so you can download it. Currently this new option is given where you will have to enter a captcha code and continue. So once that is done, you will directly come to e-return. If there are any errors, it will show a message. So currently this FVU version which I am using for today's is old, because yesterday the NSDL has released a new FVU version. So make sure your software is up to date. I am going to continue doing in this because I am just showing it as an example. So whatever error is there, it will show, in spite of which for me it has created the e-return for this particular quarter. Okay, so I have a lot of other things here as well. So this is the one for first quarter of this year. So this is the signatory proof of the responsible person. This along with 20 FVU for quarter 1, we will have to update it in the department website. So that is it for the first quarter. Similarly, we will continue with the other quarters, see what all other options can be included. If there are any errors, you will get a statistics file which will show what error has been given. In that, there will be something called as a line number. So just get that line number and click on identify error. Since I did not have any error, it is showing file not found. If it is there, then enter and change that, come back and do your e-return. So now I will close. We will continue doing the same process for the next quarter as well. So in the second quarter, we will also take up declaration forms. So July is created, and during this month, people will give their declaration form of their house property details, all these things. What you can do is, there are two options which can be taken up in this case. So one is come to more employee details, wherein you can manually enter all these values. So if a person is there in metro or not. So if you have multiple branches and you want to HRA calculation will depend upon metro city or non-metro city, in which case you can come here for the whole year. If this person is in a metro, you can enter it, or only for any few months. So next is rent paid details. So for the whole financial year, what is the rent paid amount? This again yearly or monthly can be entered. So for me, yearly rent I am entering. Again, if the rent exceeds 1 lakh per annum, then PAN details of landlord is also required. So we come here, select, if it exceeds, then we will enter the PAN and name of the landlord here. This is in case if rent exceeds 1 lakh per annum. So I'm going to take it as, say, some 90,000. So next option is children studying. Here we enter the number of children who are studying also in hostel. These are the two options which are available. This will be useful if there are benefits given such as child hostel allowance and child education allowance. So this again can be yearly or monthly. I will say enter two children who are studying and 2 children who are in hostel. So once that is done, we will next go to handicap part. So this has to be enabled to get different exemption limits. So as we know, in conveyance it is 1,600 if not handicapped and 3,200 if handicapped. So those details, if we want, we will enable it here. So enable if handicap or not. And if HRA has to be taken monthly calculation, then you will enable this. For my part, I am going to leave it as it is. And if the employer is providing any benefit from the interest-free loans, that can be entered here as well. This is the other important option which we see in more employee details, which is capital gains or house property. If the employee is declaring these with the employer, then what we do is we come to this tab, enable the option capital gain. If it is there, we will enter it, ITR2, which will be separate. We will see that in the income tax screen. Or if it is just house property, then we will enable if it is a self-occupied or let-out property, if it is let-out property. Next, loan borrowed after 31/3/1999. We use this for the purpose of exemption again. Before March 31st of 1999, the exemption limit was 30,000. Now it is 2 lakh. So for that exemption, again we enable this. Next, we enter the address of the property, and if any loan is taken, then we enter the principal amount here. So the principal amount which we enter will be common for both let out property and self-occupied property. If a person owns both of them, he will be entering the combined principal, you will be entering the combined principal amount here, and also the interest amount. So this interest amount you will be entering only for self-occupied property. Next is gross annual value, municipal tax, and let out interest. These three are applicable in case of let out property. So what is the total income which you are getting from the let out property? What is the municipal tax that is being paid by you? And also what is the interest that you are paying on the let out property? You can enter all these details and save it. Next option is Chapter 6A deductions. So you will select the employee name, select whatever the value is for mutual funds, insurance, any of these things. Similarly, you will select eTDS options, enter the gross amount can be done. So this will be what you will be doing. But for your part, it will become a hectic job if you have to sit and enter these details for all the employees. So what we have given the option is to import and export the declaration forms. So come to TDS details, there is an option called declaration form. So what you will do is export it. So as and when you click on it, it will again recalculate all these options. So here you can see where you want to export. So you can either export this to your desktop, or you can directly email it to the employees. In employee details, if you have entered the email IDs of all your employees, then this will be a far easier option for you. You can just email it to the employees. Okay, just a second. For my part, I'm going to export it to desktop for us to view. And if in your cases, you can directly email. So once you have selected and say email, there are some one-time settings which have to be done. Generally, it will already be done when the software is implemented, or you can call up the support department. They will have it, get it done for you. Once that is done, you can email this to your employees. I will export this. I will come back to here. You can see an Excel file which will contain all these options. So they can enter all these details for you and send it over. So there are ATC details, ATG details overall and also individually. So if they are contributing to mutual funds or in LIC, any of these things can be selected and entered. I'm going to enter for mutual funds and annuity plan of LIC, say 25,000 each, and save this. Just continue, and also don't cut and paste these options, because there are some formulas in the back end. It will become problematic if you cut and paste. Similarly, ATG details, if you have anything, you can enter. NSC details, in information sheet, it will show what has already been deducted. So statutory provident fund, which is being calculated for the whole year, is already taken under 80C from salary calculation itself, and also there are instructions. So coming to declaration form, 80C is now filled up. 80G, 80D, you can enter these values, save it, and they can send it over to you. Once they send it over, you can also import these values back into the software. So we will see that now. Come to TDS, declaration form, and import. Select where to import from. For me, it is my desktop. I will load. It will default check whichever Excel sheet is valid for this format to be imported and display only those files. Select it and click on import. Do you want to overwrite the data? So since I've already entered some data, it will ask me if I want to overwrite it. I will click on yes. So once that is done, all the information which I have entered will come and sit in my more employee details. So you can see if I select this employee, I entered these two values in my Excel sheet, that will come and sit here. Similarly, 80D I had not entered, I can enter it here. So it can be done either way. So you can see again here proof amount is being shown as 0. So if you want to change the proof amount, you can come here and do it. Since our calculation is based on proof amount, we will be updating these values. Next, I will select 80D. I wanted to manually enter this because these are the options. So for assessee, it takes anything up to 25,000 as completely exempted, and anything above that as taxable. So next is again for parents, you can enter 30,000, say it will take us 25,000 only. If the parents are senior citizens, then you can enable this, in which case it will take 30,000 as the qualifying amount. Okay, so once this is done, any NSE detail is there, you can enter it. After this, close, and you can come to porting details. So this is again the normal cycle will go on. I will select port data, compute income tax, and port computed TDS to salary. If you want to view, you can always go ahead and view it in view ported details and then come and save these values. So I'll come to view ported details once. So this is how it will show all these details. I will also come to view computation details. So here you can see chapter 6A deductions, which shows 80C. There are three things: statutory provident fund, mutual fund, and LIC, which I have entered. If you want to enter anything else, again you can add it here as well. One more is 80D, which I had entered. This is being saved here. You can edit any end of these values. So in those sheets and in the software in itself, you see there were about 5-6 options in chapter 6 at deductions. Here there are a lot more. You can enter whichever value is applicable here and save. Also, capital gains can be entered, and house property, self-occupied and let out property can also be entered here. So I'll come to salary, 3 dotted lines. So here now it is created till July and the rest of the months are extrapolated. Similarly, you can see house rent allowance is now being exempted. Before it was showing completely taxable. After I entered the rent details, it is calculating based on whatever steps are there, and it shows how much is exempted and how much is being taxable. Also, it shows number of school going children, hostel children, and all these things. Perquisite value again is being shown as taxable because I have not given bill details for any of these. So we will come back, create 2 more months. Come to food coupon issue for this. Okay, I had also not done it for the month of July. I will do that. We'll take August month also. Come back to salary editor. Okay, so August month it is being calculated, medical reimbursement and these things. TDS has to be calculated. I'll click on TDS, put all the details. So now TDS is also being calculated. Okay, so in the month of September again I will come do the issue for food coupon. So this becomes my monthly process wherein I will create new month, port, issue, and for my calculation at least this is the monthly process. Okay, so this completes my second quarter. So yeah, we will come to directly e-return part. The challan payment you will again be doing monthly. For me, I am just doing it once in a quarter. Okay, sorry, my mistake. First, we have to put the data. I will apply default deduction heads. First, I will select quarter 2 and then put the data. And put all the details. Okay. Once it is ported, it will come and I can create the challan. So select again, save. In your case, it will be a different set of steps. So all are created. I can come to my e-return, download. Okay. So any error it shows, clear it, and then you can go ahead with the e-return. So we will come to the next quarter. Come back to the issue part. Food coupon issue every month, October month. We'll come to salary editor. So it shows TDS. I will calculate. You can see for this month the EMI has reduced after I gave declaration forms, with ATC, ATG, all these things which I gave in the previous month. So I can continue with the process. Okay. So the process for the rest, of third quarter will be same. You will be coming to salary editor and doing these operations. One more feature which will be useful to you is importing and exporting of bill details. So basically at the end of your quarter or something, people will give you the bills, employees will come give you the bills, which you have to either manually enter in the software, which is one of your options in bill details. Or what you can also do is you can import and export it. So I will come to bill details. There is import and export option. First I will export the template to my desktop, or again if you have email IDs assigned to all your employees, you can do that as well. For me, I will put it on desktop. So it will look something like this. So you will enter whatever the details is for the rest of the time. You are giving the bill in, say you are giving it in 1st of December 2016. Amount you are giving up to 10,000. For port, it should be given as yes and save. Since I only have medical reimbursement, it is showing that. If you have other reimbursement like LTA or any others, it will be listed here. After which I will directly come here and import the bill details. So it's easier that way for you. So I will import this. Whatever is imported will come sit here with the appropriate bill details. Okay, so this is showing 10,000 now. So this is the other option. After which your third quarter filing will be same as that of the previous quarters. For fourth quarter filing, I have some previous data, so I'm going to just go ahead and show you that. Okay, so this is the previous financial years which I have. So in this I have done all details up to fourth quarter. All months are created, and for March month TDS is also being calculated. Also in TDS details, I have entered all these details. So declaration form, whatever is required, I have done. I have also ported the details. In e-return part, I will directly come to the previous financial year, select the fourth quarter, and I will port the data. When we come to e-return, along with deduction and challan, we also have something called as salary details enabled. For the fourth quarter, we will be showing the salary details. So we will just select the employee. It shows us all the details. What is the taxable salary? What is the perquisites? Whatever exemptions are done. What is deductions, chapter 6 deductions which are being done. So all these details are available in salary part. So here the important point of notice is that the tax payable or refundable should either be nil or it should be in refundable mode. If it is showing as payable mode, then make sure all the payments are made before doing the e-return. This again can be exported, which will look something like this. You can save it and keep it with you, which can again be shared to the employee. So it shows all fourth quarters options here. So once that is done, again we will come to e-return and enter all these details and do the e-return. So after every quarter, once your e-return is complete, you will come to acknowledgement number, enter it, and also lock the quarter so that any changes regarding TDS cannot be changed. So this is about the e-return part. Once that is done, your next step would be to generate form 16, for which what you will do is you will request the zip file from the TDS department, which can be updated here in the software. So you will come to reports, TDS report, there is update traces data option. You will select the financial year, select the zip file wherever it is present. I don't have any such data, and you will import it to the software. So once it is imported, you can again come back to reports, TDS reports. There is form 16 option. So click on this, select the employee. The option which you can use is part B with traces part A. So what it generates is whatever zip file you have uploaded from the department website, it will take part A from traces and part B. All the annexures, these things will be attached in part B, which will be generated from the software. So you can merge these two together and take a preview. It again can be sent to the employee by emailing it. So this is about the process of generating your form 16 and also attaching the part B from the software. If you only want form to take a view, then it can be done with form 16 from SPP. If you want to give only traces data, it can be from form 16 by traces. If you want only part B, then you will click this and it can be taken as well. So this is about the process which you do in all the quarters and also especially in the fourth quarter, which is form 16 generation. So this ends the session. So now we have a senior technical person from our support department who will be taking up any queries which you might have. So if you have any queries, just please click on that raise your hand button in the screen, and then you will be able to talk to our person here.
Hello.
Also, if you don't have a mic available to you, you can just post your questions in the chat window. We will get to the questions as well.
Hello. Hello. Anyone have any queries? Okay, here we have one question. How to do bulk issue in food coupons? Okay, you can go to this. No, okay. So okay, yeah, please go to pre-salary transactions and reimbursement and food coupon issue. So here you have bulk issue. So here you can do bulk issues, food coupons. To provide date and issued on month and a list of employees. You can select there and you can issue the amount. Any questions? Anyone having any questions? No.
Okay, so it seems that, okay, we do have one more question. Reimbursement values are not porting in e-return. How to resolve this? Just 1 second, sir.
Hello. Yeah, reimbursement values are not porting in e-return. How to resolve this? See, once you have mapped reimbursement here, we should TDS reference should be given. So if reference we are not mapped to any TDS reference, then it will not go to it will not port the values to TDS module. Please check this, and whatever claims you entered, once again you do here go to port details. Here we have a one more check option. I will show you that. Here select the employee and click on override details and put the data. So then it will reflect all the values what you have entered in reimbursement details, claim or bill details, whatever. And one more question, is limit was mentioned in template. Which declaration? Reimbursement template. You're asking about reimbursement, or you're asking about ATC details or whatever. Can you specify what you want actually? Naveen Kumar.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir. Tell me.
Yeah, I need this means tax exemptions is there now.
Okay.
Means for house rent it is 1 lakh and like that. That limit will be mentioned in the template.
No, 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 no. We are not mentioning any limit in the template. Whatever values is there, they can enter that values. But after importing through SPP, then that details it will check and it will give exemptions based on the
Okay.
exemption limits.
Okay. And for about the reimbursement.
Reimbursements also same. If that person allotment amount, suppose allotment amount is 15,000, but is claiming for more than that amount. So coming to the reimbursement templates, completely given by HR only. We are not giving to any employees to fill the details. So whatever allotments is there, same only HR will do claim also. If you have
Okay.
EAP, means Employee Information Portal, there employee can directly claim their amounts. If that
Okay.
claim amount is more than allotment, then it will not accept.
Okay.
There we have a check
Is
option.
the reimbursement is part of the CTC or exemption part of the CTC? If my case, I am not giving any reimbursement in the CTC section.
Okay.
So how it will be taken as a part of taxable part?
Yeah, coming to the CTC, some companies will give in CTC part, but some companies will not show in CTC part. In that case, we have both options. If you are showing in CTC, then reimbursement should be showed in salary option. If you are not showing in the salary CTC, then it should be in separate payments like bank advice, whatever. So in reimbursement, if
Okay.
you observe, here we have both options. See here, mode of payment, cash we have, and paid in salary we have, and bank advice we have, check we have. So if you are going apart from the salary means, then you need to select bank advice, then it will not be included in CTC part. If you are paying through CTC, then you have to select here paid in salary, then it will be considered as CTC.
Okay. One more is advances is there. My company is providing the tax-free advance. So if I mention in this salary, means advance column,
Okay.
So it will be added to the income, means taxable income.
No.
It
Advances
will
we are
not
not
add.
adding. It will not add, sir.
It will not add. Okay.
Yeah, it will not add.
Yeah, no. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome, sir. Anyone having any questions? Yes.
Okay, it seems there are no other questions. Okay, so we will be ending this session. This has also been recorded, so it will be available to you as a recording to view whenever you choose to. It will be sent to you in a day or two. Other than that, I hope you all found this session useful. Thank you very much for attending.